Well, good evening, all. Ira Epstein, and here we are with your weekend edition of your financial market wrap-up. And this wrap-up is for the evening of Friday, the 12th of December, 2025. In terms of the news coming out on Monday, we're going to get the New York Fed Empire State Survey for December. And the month before it was 18.7, but they're only looking for 12 in December. And we're also going to get the National Association of Home Builders Index. And that'll come out at 9 o'clock. Last month's reading was 38. Now, in terms of the market, wow, big sell-off today in the stock indices, as the markets, again, are confronting the idea that what you're seeing is questionable on AI. Can it live up to what it did? We've heard all these things before, but I think it more fits in with the Santa Claus idea. I think that this fits in actually pretty neatly. Get a break this week early, start seeing the market recover ideally late in the week, get into that the week afterwards, actually, as you know, Christmas week, and that's where things get very interesting. And do we get the year-end rally? We'll find out, but that's what I'm seeing in the market, and that's the possibility that we could get. When we come to the chart action, if you look at the monthly chart, you're down not even 0.5%. So here we are, close to mid-month. We'll be there on Monday, and you're down 0.5%. That's not a very big break in the marketplace. I think you'd agree with me on that. When we look at a weekly chart, you're down 0.69 for the week, and you're just coming off on a closing basis against the record highs. And when you come up and you look at the chart action, I'm sorry, it's just on a weekly chart. So far, it doesn't look all that bearish. You have a market that didn't make the high that took out the prior high up here. I can live with that. It backed off, and we'll see where it wants to come. You have a pattern right now of a higher high. See that? A lower low. You have a market that is still over the 18-week average of closes, which gives it upside bias. In my opinion, you also have a market that stalled at the upper Bollinger Band. Okay, that's typically what happens. And you have a market that on a weekly chart is overbought and not yet trying to embed. That's probably the biggest negative, that it didn't try to embed. When we come to the Dow, you got right up to where the market should have had a problem, and I think you'd agree with me. That's the upper Bollinger Band. When we step over here, let me get right to it, in the Nasdaq, couldn't quite make it there again. You can see you hit your Bollinger there, but you're still over the 18-week average, so the bias in the market is still up. In the Russell, for those of you that take my updates and you get the service that I put out, I had recommended last night that you take half profit in the market. That turned out to be good, and I did it off the weekly chart. You had gotten up there, and I just said, you know, it's probably time to grab a little money, but on the break, I think you should have bought the S&P, is what I was telling my subscribers. I'm not going to go into it any further here because I don't want this to be where I tell you buy here, sell there. I'm telling you what I had told my subscribers. In the DAX, I can see this market moving higher. Why not? You've got room to go to the upper Bollinger Band. The U.S. is now in the rate cutting cycle. It's going full steam. Depends who's going to get in as the next Fed chair. But if it is Hessett, who is still the leader, as I see it for this, he said there's plenty of room to go. So in terms of foreign currencies that are going to keep their, and I think they will in the DAX, keep their interest rates steady, we're going to cutting spree. Could be interesting. 30-year bonds. The lower you go, the higher interest rates go. Does that look to you like a bull chart? Doesn't to me. 10-year notes, same thing. So while the Fed can do certain things to influence the short-term money, the long-term is still looking on these charts not friendly. That's the best way to state it. Now in the dollar, you fell back right to the 18-week average of closes and you held it. All right, now the game begins. Are we going to go down and try to get through the lows that we made way back here? That becomes the big question. Or does it get back over here and capture people that are thinking, well, that's it for the dollar? The market has to tell us what it wants to do, but I'm laying out the game for you. The market that is bullish is the euro. And the euro is saying it wants to go higher, possibly up to the 118 level. You can see how it's held the 18-week average. You've got higher lows, higher highs, and momentum is turned up in the market. In the Canadian dollar, you have a lower low, higher high. The market for the first time has cleared the green line, which is the 100-week average of closes. You just might be able to get up to that upper Bollinger Band. In the Japanese yen, we have lower highs, lower lows. So which way is the Bank of Japan going to go? Are they going to go on their own and say, we want to fight the inflation? Or are they going to say with the new prime minister, let this embed even further? It's okay. I don't know which one of the two they'll do, but the lower it goes, the more that the bank will become concerned. In Bitcoin, you had a nice bounce off of what I told you to expect. If you go back and you look at my videos, and they're there on YouTube, as we got down here, I said, I think the pros are covering shorts. And that's what's happened. You haven't heard me say I'm bullish. I have not said that at this point in time. When we look at WTI crude oil, this is a weekly area chart of the closing price difference between Brent and WTI. You can see how it slipped back underneath the 18-day average. Prices have been coming together. And in them, you're still quite bearish. Lower highs, lower lows, but oversold, not embedding at this point in time. WTI doing the same, oversold, not embedding at this point. Heating oil falling down rather hard. You have a lower and low, higher high scenario. I would have loved had it gotten up here. It would have made a lot more sense to me, but there's nothing really brewing there. The big market that had a break this week was the natural gas, and you keep that in the back of your mind. Want to remind one and all that if you want to get our updates and see what I'm doing and telling my clients buy here, sell there, just move your cursor to the top here or come over into this area. That's another way that you can do it. It'll take you over to our website at iraepstein.com. Go to the word research, sign up there, and that's how you get to see what I'm telling my subscribers to do. In the meantime, I'm Ira. You have yourself a great evening, a great weekend, and I'll catch up with one and all come Monday morning. Take care.